There are hundreds of different reasons why we choose to pick up a camera and start out on the journey to becoming a photographer. Might be the sudden flash of inspiration in someone else's photograph. Might just happen slowly over time as you graduate from smartphones. Might be because you want to capture memories of your family. The starting points are different for all of us. But when we start getting serious about photography, then there's often a common end goal. In my case, that goal was this: the ability to look at a scene, to understand its appeal, and to know precisely what to do in order to best capture that scene through a lens. If you're serious into photography, then perhaps you share the same end goal: the competence to understand a scene instinctively and to know what equipment can best capture it. Getting to that point, sufficient competence to take the photograph we can see in our mind's eye, is not a straight road though. It's actually full of twists and turns, potholes, dead ends, hairpins, adverse conditions, equipment issues, and roadblocks. Many people give up, turn back before they get close to the end of that journey. And that's a shame, because the setbacks, the blunders, the screw-ups, and yes, even the catastrophes are an integral part of the process. Failure is not just an option, it's mandatory. Everyone's photography journey is different, but mine could probably be defined by a desire to take memorable photographs. Typically speaking, I'll be just scrolling through the feed on social media, and every now and then a shot will stop me in my zombified death scrolling tracks, and a lightning bolt of inspiration will hit me. I want to take a photograph like that. And by like that, I don't mean look up the GPS coordinates, hunt down the exact location, and then produce a clone of that shot. That would be pointless. What I mean is getting a similar vibe, a look, a feel. If a photograph makes me feel something beyond, oh, that's nice, then I add it to the list, and I do my best to use it as a starting point for my own shot. When I started out, I quickly realized that I had to keep my expectations low, because photographs rarely turn out the way you want them to when you're treading new ground. And that, my friends, is the first part of this road to photographic enlightenment: keeping your expectations in check. We all want to achieve, to produce something beautiful, and we should strive for that. But we should also understand that it isn't going to happen instantly. As a way of managing expectations, my advice is to practice your shots when the chances of a good outcome are low or even zero. Let's say you want to photograph the full moon rising behind a nearby lighthouse. You need to do a lot more than just check out the angles on photo pills to ensure you nail that shot. So, go there in broad daylight to work out the sight lines, where you're going to pitch your tripod, lens choice, focal length, and then go back when there's a regular crescent moon and treat it as a dry run. Those shots, the ones that cause you to stop scrolling, probably didn't manifest themselves because the photographer got lucky on their first go. Going through the motions takes all the heat out of the situation. And while you'll still feel a bit nervous on a big day, if you worked out the logistics, then pretty much the only thing that can spoil it is the weather. And even if the forecast is not great, you should still go as planned, because one, forecasts can be wrong, and two, each attempt you make is simply another step on the road to eventual success. Photography is not a game of big gains, it's a game of tiny incremental wins, and perseverance is the watchword. There are occasions where practice can only get you so far, and you'll have instead to do it live. Extreme weather events are a very good example of this. I bought a lightning trigger to let me capture lightning bolts a few years ago now, and while I familiarised myself as much as possible with that device, I still had to learn as I went when I took that trigger out on its first proper outing. And as it happened, I managed to balls it up. Had the device working okay, triggering exposures as expected, but I was so focused on that side of things that I didn't give enough consideration to my actual camera settings. So that first storm, and let me tell you, it was a good one. I got 3 fairly average photos out of an entire evening stood out in the pissing rain. When I got home and was looking through my spectacularly average storm photos, I compared the minority of good shots with the majority of bad shots, and I learned something. Now, here's a kicker. That whole process, my failed storm photography session, actually mirrors the scientific method. In science, you have a hypothesis, you experiment to test that hypothesis, and then you analyze the results. Idea, practical application, evaluation, conclusion. Idea: admired a storm photographer and bought a lightning trigger. Application: took it out during a storm and took some photos. Evaluation: my photos sucked. Conclusion: pay more bloody attention to the camera settings. Once you realise it's all just a process, it makes fucking things up a lot easier to handle. Don't get me wrong, nobody celebrates an SD card full of shite photographs, but building failure into your process means you have a path forward after you fail, rather than just spitting the dummy and giving up. There's another aspect of failure that I haven't touched on yet, and which is especially applicable to photography. Many photographers, myself included, walk around with backpacks full of awesome equipment. We do this because we want to be flexible and be able to react to whatever conditions we happen to encounter while we're out taking photographs in environments like this. But having all that kit can lead to decision fatigue. Having too many technical choices can lead to a kind of creative paralysis. One possible solution to this is to try going out with as minimal a photography setup as possible. For instance, try going out with just one lens, preferably a prime. Having no options means your brain is free from deciding what lens, what focal length, etc. to choose. It's really quite liberating. Of course, if you want the ultimate treatment for building failure into your workflow, then you really need to try film photography. Film is where my photography journey began. I remember only too well how slow that learning curve was. For starters, you have a limited number of shots you can take, 36 exposures, for instance, in a roll of film. Then you have that delay in between taking the photograph and seeing the results, because you've got to go and send the film off to be developed and prints made from the negatives. The move to digital accelerated the learning process in photography to an unprecedented level, because we suddenly got instant feedback, but that also meant that we began using the law of averages by taking as many photos as possible and relying on chance to deliver the goods. Failure in photography is an essential part of the process. Without it, there would be no happy accidents. We've all encountered this at one time or another, when some accidental turn of events results in an awesome photograph, and then there's this whoop, light bulb moment and the sudden desire to replicate the process. So here then are the field-tested methods to remember. Keep your expectations low when starting out. Practice your shots when the chances of success are minimal. Scout locations in advance. Do dry runs with less critical subjects. Go despite poor forecasts. Weather predictions can be wrong. Accept photography is a game of incremental wins, not big gains. Remember the process. Idea, experiment, evaluation, conclusion. Combat decision fatigue by using minimal equipment. Recognize happy accidents as opportunities for new techniques. Failure, my friends, is where it's at. And that'll do us for this celebration of failure in photography. How do you cope with your setbacks? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you got value from it, consider subscribing for more photo, video and drone related content from me. Till the next time guys, from stunning 7 Mile Beach, I bid you adieu. Ta-ta guys.